Hello, everyone. Today I am going to bring you a meaningful story that will surely touch your heart. Please prepare your seats, fasten your seatbelts, and let's start exploring this story. My wife, Sarah, had gone to a party with only one man and stayed the night, so I took devastating revenge. It was a typical Friday evening when Sarah, my wife of 10 years, told me she was heading to a party with some old college friends. She wore her favorite dress, glowing with excitement, reminding me of how she looked when we first fell in love. These moments had become routine over the years, so when she kissed me goodbye and told me not to wait up, I barely thought twice. "Have fun," I said with a smile as she walked out the door. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? But as the hours ticked by, something felt off. It wasn't a sudden wave of suspicion, but a quiet, persistent discomfort gnawing at me. Sarah always shared updates on Instagram, especially when she dressed up as beautifully as she had tonight. But there were no posts, no stories, no check-ins, nothing. At first, I shook it off, telling myself she was just enjoying her night. I grabbed a beer, sank into the couch, and tried to lose myself in a movie. But as the hours dragged on, my unease only grew. By 1:30 a.m., the knot in my stomach was impossible to ignore. I checked the clock, and still no word from her. Acting on impulse, I did something I'd never done before. I accessed our shared phone account and reviewed her text history. It felt wrong, intrusive even, but my instincts told me there was more to her night than she had let on. And I was right. The name James appeared repeatedly in her messages. It didn't take long to piece things together. James wasn't an old college friend. He was someone she had met online. They had been texting and flirting for weeks. Reading through their conversations, I felt my heart sink. Their messages weren't overtly sexual, but there was a clear undertone. They joked about secrets and shared intimate details. The words that hit me the hardest? "I can't wait to see you tonight." My stomach churned as the reality hit. Sarah, the woman I had trusted for over a decade, was cheating on me. And here I was, sitting at home like a fool while she spent the night with another man. When she walked through the door at 3:30 a.m., my world had shifted. Sarah tiptoed inside, her high heels softly clicking on the floor. Her hair was disheveled, and she smelled faintly of alcohol. "You're still awake?" she asked, startled to see me. Her voice was soft, almost cautious. "Yeah," I replied evenly, feigning a sleepy tone. "How was the party?" I watched her carefully. She hesitated, just for a second, but long enough for me to catch it. "It was fine," she said too quickly. "We were chatting with some old friends, and I didn't realize how late it had gotten." Her eyes darted away from mine as she busied herself with her shoes, placing them neatly by the door. That subtle avoidance told me everything I needed to know. "Who was there?" I asked, keeping my tone casual, pretending not to know the answer. "Just a few people from school," she replied hastily. "You wouldn't know them." But I did. I knew exactly who was there. James. That night, I wanted so badly to confront her, but I held back. I needed more evidence, more clarity. I didn't just want an apology. I wanted the truth. I wanted revenge. Over the next few days, I took advantage of Sarah's inattentiveness to dive deep into her secret world. I meticulously examined her phone, scoured her social media, and uncovered every shred of evidence I could find. I learned all about James, how they had met through a mutual friend, how their conversations began innocently, and how they had gradually become more intimate. Their messages revealed a connection that grew deeper with time, filled with secrets and flirtation. I pieced together the events of the night she went out, comparing them with her messages to James. It all started to make sense. She had been seeing him for weeks, meeting him behind my back. Then, one night, while she was in the shower, I found the final proof I needed. James had sent her a photo of them together at a party. His arm wrapped around her waist, her head resting on his shoulder, both of them grinning. It was undeniable. My blood boiled as I stared at the image, my heart racing. But amidst the rage, there was something else, a cold, calculated calm. This wasn't going to be a simple argument or confrontation. This betrayal demanded something much deeper, something that would leave a lasting mark. I began to plan my revenge carefully, step by step. Confronting her outright would be too easy. I needed Sarah and James to feel the weight of their actions, to truly understand the consequences. First, I let her believe that everything was fine. I kept my distance, acted as if nothing was wrong, and lived life as usual. Meanwhile, I began digging into James' life. I found his social media accounts, his workplace, and even his private email. He was reckless, like so many people. I created a fake online persona, a mutual acquaintance of Sarah's, someone James would feel comfortable trusting. I built a digital relationship with him, slowly winning his confidence and learning more about his life. He had no idea what was happening. At the same time, I set up hidden cameras throughout the house, capturing every moment Sarah texted him, every phone call, and every secret plan they made. I wasn't collecting this evidence for a legal case. It was for something far more impactful. The day of reckoning finally arrived. Sarah told me she was meeting a friend for coffee, but I knew she was heading to James' apartment. I let her leave without saying a word. But this time, I wasn't staying home. I had already put the final piece of my plan into motion. I edited together a video, documenting every detail of Sarah's betrayal and James' role in it. Framing it as a social experiment, I posted it anonymously on a popular social media platform. The video quickly gained attention, spreading like wildfire. By the time Sarah returned home that evening, the internet had turned against her. Her phone buzzed incessantly with notifications, messages, and comments. She unlocked it, her face turning pale as the gravity of the situation sank in. "What is this?" she stammered, her eyes wide with shock. I stood calmly in the doorway, watching her unravel. "I told you not to wait up for me," I said, my voice steady but laced with emotion. "Did you do this?" she asked, her voice trembling. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. By the time the night was over, Sarah's world was in shambles. James disappeared, his reputation in ruins. As for Sarah, she became a pariah. Her friends abandoned her, her social media was flooded with hateful comments, and her life fell apart. She begged for my forgiveness, swearing she still loved me. But it was too late. I packed my bags and left without a word. The silence I left behind was all the closure she would ever get. The above story reminds us that an affair will never bring good results. Just a little carelessness will expose everything and collapse. Thank you for watching today's video. Please subscribe to our channel to learn more interesting and meaningful stories. Your support is our great motivation. See you in the next stories.